All right, welcome to another episode of Sacred Fame Podcast. I'm Kasia Rachfall, and the whole purpose behind the podcast is to say the shit you want to say. Sacred Fame is all about connection to yourself and really seeing yourself and fully hearing yourself so that you can be seen and heard out there in the world. And I am here with my very good friend and colleague and co-podcaster, Eva Ponce. We used to have a podcast called Permission Granted, and it's still kind of going on, but we've taken a sabbatical. We've had a lot of fun over the years talking about all kinds of things. And part of the Sacred Fame podcast is going to be me having conversation with others. And I thought, who best to kick this off than my very good friend, Eva. So welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Well, thank you for that great introduction. I'm so excited to be your first guest. And I think this whole concept of this podcast is amazing, and it's something different, and it's something that needs to be out there, but no one knows that it's out there for them to actually really lean in and know what Sacred Fame is all about. Like she said, I'm Eva. I'm glad to be here. I am what I like to call myself a chaos coordinator, where I disrupt all the things that come with the essence of self-care. And I even break down what self even means and so many different variations. And it's not like the true essence of self, but what we do to ourselves and allow ourselves to be guided in thinking that we have to do so many things when we really don't have to. So I kind of help women really break down where they are caught in these patterns and these habitual habits of doing things for so many other people, but at the end of the day, they're depleted because they're leaving themselves out of the equation. And I kind of really help them to stop, drop, and really take inventory and evaluate where they're depleting their energies and how they're not going to be able to do that because it's not sustainable. Yeah. So that's what I do.
I love that. And I think your work is so needed, especially now where there's so much disconnection in the world and so much distance, not just between each other, but I think distance from ourselves. Like, we're really having to dig deep and figure out who we are and why the hell are we here? Like, never mind what we're here to do, but why are we here? What's the point of all of this with all this crazy shit happening out there? A lot of us have had the opportunity to go in, stay quiet for a bit and really explore that. And if you're not used to facing some of the stuff that's inside you, it can be hard. So I love that you're doing this work, Eva, because it's like when someone's shit comes up, they need help catching it all and sifting through it.
Yeah, and it's hard. And for us as women, and I say women especially, not to take away any experiences from men whatsoever, but we are multitaskers by nature. And unfortunately, that's a hard thing to admit that that's what we do, but that's what we've been programmed to do. We are moms, we are wives, we are sisters, we are cousins, we're someone's daughter. Like, we are the many things to the many people. And we always forget to be the thing for us, for what we need for ourselves. Like, if you don't rev your own engine and you don't supply yourself with what you need in order to give to others, you're depleting yourself and denying yourself all the things that you're so willingly give to others, but you second guess and second question for yourself.
Totally. Yeah. How did you start doing this work? What brought you here?
Crash course, because I lived through a situation where I was just burning the candle at both ends between work and trying to create like this side business of doing the thing of coaching. But at a different level than what I do it now. It was just more about like the wellness of it all, and make sure you move your body and drink your water. And when I noticed that I needed to get beyond the superficial things, I fell into a situation where I got injured. I was on disability from work. I blew out my sciatic nerve from just constantly being on go. And at the time, my mom was sick. So I was working 40 hours in 4 days. And I come from corporate America. In corporate America, the grind is 9 to 5, and you do your 40 hours in 5 days. I was doing it in 4, taking that extra day off during the week to run my mom to her appointments. I was raising my family. I was having to come home and cook the dinner, do the laundry, do the things, show up for my son's, bands. And so it just got to a point where the world God, spirit, the universe was like, okay, we're gonna semi blow out your sciatic nerve and we're gonna sit you down. So I had literally a spiritual smackdown of sorts where I really was forced to stop, not even slow down. It was like a hard stop.
Mhm.
And I really had to assess what I was doing, what wasn't working for me anymore, what I had to let go of and unlearn, and kind of relearn a new way of navigating this crazy thing called life, with work, being home, being a mom, being a wife. And I had a really hard conversation with myself, eventually spoke to my husband, and my husband's like, listen, if you want to go back to work, that's fine. But I suggest you take some time off. Like, you really need to find what it is that you want to do where it's not gassing you out.
Yeah.
And I found myself really doing the research, really going through the journey, really documenting the things that I was going through, the things I was wrestling with, things that I was programmed to have to learn to now unprogram.
Mhm.
And I got to this whole self-care platform, but in a different way, where it was beyond the manicures and the pedicures and the lattes and the massages, like that, again, all the superficial stuff. I really wanted to get down to the core of what's being committed to self, because I created that. That's part of like my coaching, where you're really committing to self. Like, what is it, the self of what your true existence is, and how can you take that, but by using all the resources you have to take care of that self, and then show up for others, especially as a mom and you work out of the home. If you're not doing what you need to do, like, and making people really understand, like, what makes you function.
Mhm.
Is it peace or is it chaos?
Mm.
Like, how do you want to show up in your day intentionally, on purpose? Like,
Yeah.
how do you redesign the quality of your life so that you can have a better quality of life?
What was the drive for you to go internal instead of like looking for solutions outside of you? Because you could have just gone to physio or to the doctor and been like, please fix my sciatica. I need to do my stuff. What was the thing that drove you inside? Like, I find we're not necessarily in our Western culture programmed to look within.
Mhm.
We're programmed to look outside of ourselves for something that will take the pain away, whatever the pain happens to be. And since that's the crux of your work, how did you know to go there?
I have to admit that at the time I was leaning into a lot of Louise Hay's work from Hay
Mhm,
House.
mhm,
And I read her book, and I think I read it like multiple times already. You Can Heal Your Life.
mhm,
And listening to her story and her journey, and at the same time simultaneously knowing and realizing that all the external things that I was doing, the eating healthy, the whole wellness thing of, moving your body and having like all those others, I noticed that was okay, but that wasn't fixing everything. Like, I
mhm,
always felt like I was missing another element, another component to really taking care of the self.
mhm.
Like, I learned that true self-care is also boundaries.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
don't put those fences up with people, whether they're family, friends, or coworkers, you're giving them the permission to just rewrite and redirect everything you do. You
Mhm.
can't do that. I found out that true self-care is also about using your power of no. Like, why are we feeling like we have to yes ourselves in every situation where inside your brain is screaming, no, you don't want to do this? And being okay and having that hard conversation and saying, thank you for the invitation, but I need to pass because of such thing, and not having to feel like you have to make up an excuse. You can just say, no, thank you, I can't make it. And that's it. Learning that you don't have to over explain and give anyone an explanation as to why you're justifying a no.
Yeah, no can be a complete sentence, right?
And it is.
Mhm,
And knowing that you can say no without having to say anything else. I think
mhm.
we're also programmed to feel like we have to over explain everything to everyone.
Yeah.
And you feel like you constantly have to rehearse that so that it comes out, so that you think that when you're saying it, it sounds reasonable, when
Mhm.
it's like, no, like we're not wired to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
So working with that aspect, and it just knowing that, I started meditating.
Mm.
I dabbled into that. And trust me when I tell you, till this day, I struggle with meditation because it's the mind over matter. Like you can be in a good rhythm of just sitting in it. And then all of a sudden here comes, oh, squirrel, food shopping list.
Right.
Shit. Did I take the laundry out of, like, did I put it in the dryer? Like, and that to me, I noticed how much I needed that to force myself to silence my mind. Like I was, and I'm guilty of it still because we're not perfect and it's a practice. These are things that you do on a daily as a practice. There's no perfection in it. It's just how you show up and learning to just redirect it. If it just went off course, here you go back again. The moments of silence, how important they are.
Yeah. I love that.
How important they are, because by you taking those moments to just totally just decompress and just silence, not give the mind the opportunity to focus on anything other than like, am I still breathing?
And how deeply, right?
Right? You notice that everything else at that moment does not matter as much as you focusing on the fact that you are consciously breathing.
Mm.
And if we take that and we address everything that we're going through with that concept, okay, like I don't have to answer right now. I can take a moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then just giving
Absolutely.
ourselves like these little permissions of just like not having to do the impulsive thing that we've been trained to do for so long. And it, as you should know, as a mom and as
Yeah.
as a businesswoman, as everything else that you show up for everyone else, if you compound that by the many different identities that you are,
Yeah.
it can be very over consuming, very overwhelming, very stressing on the body.
Totally.
So finding those things that work for you, and meditation may not be for everybody, but you could also do active meditations where people just go out for a walk.
Yeah.
That's meditation. And but it's
Totally. Yeah, meditation, and that was going to be my next sort of question. You know, meditation has this spiritual connotation, and it can be, but I'm finding for those who are wanting to dabble or to embrace spirituality, spirituality doesn't have to be this, you know, crazy thing that you do. Your life is a spiritual thing, and I'm wondering, do you define spirituality like as meditation, or what role does it play and has it played in your recovery? And now as you're building this this beautiful work that you're putting out into the world, does it play a role? And is that something you invite your clients into if they are curious?
I 100% agree. And I think spirituality, just like fame, just like anything in life, shows up differently for people. And it could be in a form of meditation. It could be in a form of just how you are of service to people, whether it's just holding a door or just, you know, sharing a smile with somebody. That's a form of spirituality. Just being a human, you know, a decent human being, period, is a form of spirituality, because we're learning to connect. We're learning to be compassionate. We're learning to be sensitive. We're learning to be empathetic. We're learning to be loving. We're learning to be, you know, friendly. Those are forms of spirituality. Everything else outside of that is just a redirection of a programming of things that we've just learned through society, our upbringings, our cultures, or the famous excuse because that's just the way we've always done it.
Oh, that one just gets my knickers in a knot.
Right?
Like no, change. It's okay. You can embrace change.
It's not okay. 1930 anymore.
Yes. Possibility thinking. Yes.
Yeah. And just really finding your sweet spot in the way that you connect with the universe, with yourself, with your own essence, is a form of spirituality. And how you choose to show up for that and honor that and share that with the world is an individual practice.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So if you were to define or describe your own flavor of sacred fame, like be fully seeing and hearing yourself so that you can be fully seen and heard in the world, what would that be for you?
That's a good question. I think for me, it would be in the way I show up and how I work with the people I choose to work with women for now, and it can change. It could be with men. Um, just really learning to see yourself for who you really are, not who you were told you were.
I love that.
Really honoring the opportunity that you get to go on an exploration of so many things, and you get to like savor these experiences and go through these challenges and the ups and downs of what life always brings us, but knowing that you're coming out of that a better person, not fearing the unexpected but being excited like what's around the corner, and knowing that you're always going to be safe, you're always going to be okay, you're always being protected, you're always being guided in whatever it is that you choose to believe, that that is that resource that guides you and lets you show up in your own essence, because we are all gifted with something to bring to the table, and everyone has a seat at the table. You just have to find your spot.
Oh, I love that. Yes,
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you have any wisdom, like a piece of wisdom that you would like to share?
My biggest piece of wisdom is when something feels uncomfortable, believe it. Ask yourself why,
Mm,
and find a way to soothe that and remedy it and do it different or experience it different, and then compare which one feels better.
I love that. So simple and profound,
Mhm.
and really brings the opportunity for responsibility within.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
the only way to do it. That's the only, if it feels uncomfortable, if it feels bad and it's screaming and the alarms are going off, it's for a reason, for you to really analyze why
Yeah.
and to challenge yourself. Does it feel good? Is it a good screaming in your face? And if it's great, continue. But if it's really challenging you and it's bothering you and you're wrestling with it, that's your time to stop, drop, and really evaluate. Is this
Mhm.
what is it about this that's not working for me?
Mm.
How can I approach this differently? Or do I need to eliminate this completely? Because sometimes it's even a simple fact of eliminating things.
Mhm.
And it's okay, because what you get rid of, you're bringing the opportunity for more to come into that space, for
Yeah.
something better. It's always for something better. You're not settling. We don't have to settle. We
Right.
choose, we feel like we have to choose and settle. Like, no, if it's not good enough, you can say no, thank you, and keep moving and find something that replaces that to make it better.
Yeah.
I'm learning that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like brilliant, brilliant wisdom. That's gold. I love it.
Thank you.
And so the last thing I want to ask you is, given that this is a platform I'm creating for saying the shit you want to say, is there something that you haven't said that you want to say to the world?
Honestly, really analyze what self-care means to you. Like, I don't want to hear anymore about, well, go for a fucking latte, go get a massage. Like, for me, like, no, we need to stop being so materialistic when it comes to things that are like, we have to feel like we have to have a touch point on everything. Like, no, it's just there to entertain us and distract us from really doing the work of what it is that we are stuffing down, what it is that we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to experience or to say. Like, that's to me where I feel like I want to get on a megaphone and be like, cut the shit.
Good.
Okay, so you go for the nail, you're going for your mani and your pedi. When you get out of there, you're still going to go back home to the same fucking problem that you walked away from.
Yeah.
Like, don't let the superficialness of self-care be a delusion from actually doing the work and finding the source, the root cause of your, it's almost like functional medicine for the soul. Can I even say that? Can I
Yes.
trademark?
Totally. Hell
Okay.
yes.
Functional medicine for the soul. Like, stop being blinded and squirreled in the shiny objects of doing the superficial things of self-care, and really analyze what it is that's blocking you from being who you need to be and being of service of how you need to show up
Mm,
and having those difficult conversations.
yeah.
We're so afraid of confrontation, of really saying, like, really telling someone, no, I fucking can't stand you because you're a horrible human being.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know
you
what I'm
can say that
saying?
eloquently.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and still smile while you're saying it because you mean it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But learning how to have that conversation in a more diplomatic way, but having the conversation of saying, like, you know what, I really don't appreciate how I've seen you interact as a human, because it defies all of what I honor and how I want to show up.
Yeah.
And then have the conversation. And if that's all you have to say and you drop the mic and you walk away, you walked away.
Yeah.
But you're not carrying that load of, I should have told them that. No, you did. Let it go.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Eva Ponce. This is
Thank you.
powerhouse lady right here doing big things in the world. I will link to Eva's contact information below so you can find her and get in touch with her if you have chaos in your life and all some of the things that might be showing up for you that we talked about where you're having trouble figuring out who you are and what self-care means to you and how do you find yourself amidst all the chaos in your life, because we all have it. We're not ever going to get rid of it, but we can navigate it with ease and grace and more peace. It takes time. It's not a walk in the park, but it is so worth it, because when you can find that center within you, you know you can handle anything. You are safe in the unknown, and Eva can definitely help you hold your hand through that and set you free from the chaos. So grateful that I get to know you, that you're my friend, and we can chat whenever. It's just, you're such a gift to the world, and thank you so much for being my first guest. It's such an honor.
It was an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.